Hello and welcome to my new YouTube series on how to learn jazz standards. My name is Anthony from AA Jazz, and we've been working on the tune Fly Me to the Moon. Today's lesson is going to be on improvisation. Now, improvisation, that's the real nugget that separates jazz music from other forms of music, right? And today we're going to take the tune Fly Me to the Moon. We're going to take a look at some simple ways that we can come up with improvisations over the chord progressions. In order to do that, I'm going to turn this camera around and show you the music that I will be looking at. Alright, the first thing that I want to do is I want to identify some target notes. If I take a look at the very beginning of the song, I see that the chord is A minor 7 and the target note or the starting note is a C. I'm going to go down to the fourth bar and I see that the target note is an E, the chord being C major 7. Those are what I would call my two main targets, the first note in the phrase and the last note in the phrase. In between, I do have an F and a B. I would call those sort of like secondary targets, and I'll be talking about those as well. All right, so a lot of times you hear people talking about you got to play with the melody, or you got to play around the melody, or play around with the melody, or all sorts of terms that are used. And now we're going to see what that really winds up looking like. We saw when we were focusing on the target notes that the very first chord is an A minor 7, and the starting note was a C. And we saw that the phrase ends on a C major 7, and the target note being the E. We also know that this song is in the key of C. That's going to be important. And in the earlier lesson where we talked about learning the melody, I said you should learn it in two places. And so those are the two places we're going to be talking about. Like I said, I'm trying to limit these lessons to like 5 or 7 minutes. So here we go. I've got my iReal Pro, and I've highlighted the first 4 bars. A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, and C major 7. Now, I'm going to play the melody just the way I learned it, and then I'm going to play around the melody, just like we were saying. I want you to really pay attention to how I place that C at the beginning and the E at the end. Here we go. Now this. There you go. Same notes, I just improvised instead of played the melody. Did it again. I'll do it one more time. Remember we said we had to learn it in 2 different spots. Well, here's the reason. So you can see, you can go on with just those 4 bars. You can go on for hours and hours and hours just figuring out different ways of going between there. Now I'm going to do a different example. I'm going to keep bouncing back and forth between melody and improvisation. I think that by doing this, you really get a solid grip of how the melody and the chords intertwine, and how your improvisation needs to be sort of the third wheel of that tricycle, or as I call it, the 3 pillars. Improvise. improvised one. There you go. There's one way to do it. Now I've also attached my looper today because I wanted to show you how you can also use a looper to get the same effect. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to record those 4 chords. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here I go. Now I'm going to play the melodies that we just figured out. And improvise. There you go. I hope you get the idea. I want you to try that out. Type something into the comments. Let me know if you liked it or what you would like me to follow that up with. I know that my next lesson is going to focus on the next 4 bars, which does have a note which is outside of the scale. So I'm going to be talking about how you treat that, and we're also going to take the first 4 bars and the second 4 bars and we're going to put it together. This is starting to sound like music, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.